Hello and welcome to this episode of the Recruitment Podcast, where we celebrate academic recruitment and bring education to everyone. Today, let's see, we're diving into something, something surprisingly complex
Yeah.
and honestly, constantly changing. Higher Ed HR. You know, at first, I thought it was all about paperwork and procedures, but, based on the stack of reports and articles and
Yeah.
even case studies you sent in, it's clear there's so much more going on behind the scenes.
Definitely a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
what exactly surprised you the most about this topic?
I think. Well, one thing that really stood out to me was just the sheer breadth of what higher ed HR handles. It's so much more than just hiring and firing. It really is everything from faculty recruitment,
Yeah.
to student employment,
Wow.
and even managing those hybrid work policies.
Yeah. It's really mind-boggling when you start to think about how much they juggle. And from what I've read, technology seems to be playing a huge role in how they do all of this.
Oh, absolutely. We're seeing a major shift away from those manual paper-based processes and towards these more automated, data-driven systems. And this is especially important in faculty recruitment, which, as you know,
Yeah.
has become incredibly competitive.
Yeah, you're right. All this material you sent in kept emphasizing this concept of employer branding, which basically means how a college or university presents itself to potential hires. It's almost like marketing.
Yeah.
But for talent.
Exactly. Colleges and universities are finally starting to realize that they need to go beyond just listing job openings. They have to actively promote their institution's values, their culture, and what makes them a great place to work. It's about telling a compelling story that resonates with the top candidates.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that recruitment is an ongoing process. It's not just about filling a position. It's about building a reputation as an employer of choice long before a position even opens up.
Absolutely. It's about building relationships and trust with potential candidates. And technology is giving institutions the tools to do this effectively. Well, they can leverage their website and social media, even online platforms, to really showcase their unique strengths and connect with potential candidates in more engaging ways.
So it's not just about attracting talent. It's about retaining the talent you already have. One thing that stood out to me in the research was, that colleges often lag behind other sectors in providing professional development opportunities for their employees.
That's a great point, And all the research shows that employees who feel supported in their professional growth, they're much more likely to be engaged and satisfied, and ultimately to stay with their institution. But it seems that many colleges and universities, they haven't fully embraced this concept.
Why do you think that is?
It's probably a combination of factors,
Yeah.
Budget is definitely a factor. But I think it also has to do with the culture of academia. The focus has traditionally been on individual achievement and research output, often at the expense of collaborative development and professional growth for all employees.
So it's kind of like a blind spot for many institutions.
Yeah, you could say that. But the good news is, more and more colleges and universities are recognizing the importance of investing in their employees' development. They're starting to see that.
Yeah.
It's not just the right thing to do for their staff, it's also a smart business decision.
Right. Because high turnover rates can be incredibly costly.
Exactly.
So it seems like there's a growing awareness that supporting employee growth is essential for both individual and institutional success.
Yes, definitely.
And by guessing, technology can play a role here too.
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more online platforms designed specifically for higher education. They offer a wide range of professional development opportunities, from online courses to mentorship programs.
So basically,
Yeah.
institutions can provide high-quality development resources without breaking the bank, and employees can access them conveniently on their own time.
Exactly. And these platforms can be tailored to the specific needs of faculty and staff, offering personalized learning paths and tracking progress. It's really a win-win situation.
Sounds like it.
And it doesn't have to be just formal training programs. Technology can also help with informal learning and knowledge sharing, through online communities, discussion forums, even social media groups.
I see what you mean. It's more about creating an environment where learning is just part of the everyday work experience.
Right. It's about integrating it into the flow of work.
And recognizing that professional development isn't just a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
Speaking of ongoing processes, this idea of a connected ecosystem keeps popping up. Can you explain what that means in terms of HR and technology?
Sure. Ideally, you want all the different HR tools and systems integrated, like all on a single platform.
So kind of like a central hub for everything.
Exactly. And in that hub, information can flow between the different functions, like recruiting, onboarding, performance management, and professional development.
So no more data silos or duplicate entries. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
It is. A connected ecosystem streamlines everything. It reduces errors, and it gives you a more holistic view of the workforce. But more importantly, it lets HR provide a more personalized and efficient experience for everyone, from job applicants to current employees.
Okay. I can see how that would be a game changer.
It really would.
Instead of having to navigate all these different systems, employees have a single point of access for everything they need.
Exactly. And it allows HR to give employees more targeted and relevant information
Mm-hmm.
based on their role, their goals, and their development needs.
So it's almost like using technology to enhance the human side of HR.
I like that. It really is about freeing up HR professionals from all those administrative tasks so they can focus on building relationships, creating a positive environment, and supporting their employees' growth and development.
Okay, so we've talked about technology's impact on recruitment, retention, and professional development. But what about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Of course, DEI is so central to higher education's mission, and HR really plays a vital role in promoting those values.
Right. All these articles you sent emphasize how HR can be a leader in creating a more inclusive and equitable workplace.
Absolutely. And it all starts with attracting and recruiting a diverse workforce, one that reflects the student body and the surrounding community.
And then creating a culture where everyone feels valued and respected,
Exactly.
no matter their background.
Exactly.
And that means developing policies that promote equity and fairness in hiring, compensation, promotions, professional development.
It's about creating a level playing field, making sure everyone has an equal chance to succeed.
And I'm guessing technology can help here too.
Definitely. There are tools that can help remove bias from hiring, promote pay equity, and track diversity metrics so you can actually measure your progress.
But of course, technology isn't a magic bullet.
Not at all.
It takes commitment from leadership
Absolutely.
and a willingness to really examine those existing systems and practices.
I couldn't agree more. It takes a real culture shift to create a truly inclusive and equitable workplace. And that starts with leadership, setting the tone, and holding everyone accountable.
So weaving DEI into the fabric of the institution.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a theme here. Whether it's technology or DEI, it seems like higher ed HR is becoming more strategic
It is.
and more influential.
I think that's a great observation. HR isn't just a back office function anymore. They're helping shape the overall direction of the institution.
And making it a place where everyone can thrive.
Exactly.
So even with all the challenges, it sounds like an exciting time to be in higher ed HR.
It is. Definitely challenging, but also a huge opportunity to take a real impact.
Right, because you're ultimately shaping the future of higher education.
You are. You're creating a more diverse, equitable, and engaging work environment for the faculty and staff who make everything happen.
That's a good point. It's easy to forget that.
It is.
But you mentioned earlier that higher education is facing some headwinds.
Yes. There are definitely some challenges ahead. Well, we're seeing declining enrollment, shrinking budgets, and increasing scrutiny from the public and policymakers.
So how do you see those trends impacting HR and higher ed?
I think they're going to have to become even more creative and resourceful, especially when it comes to attracting and retaining talent.
Especially when resources are tight.
Exactly. They'll need to make a strong case for investing in their employees and demonstrate that return on investment.
So they'll need to be data savvy
Yes.
and able to communicate the value of their work.
Absolutely.
And adaptable,
And innovative.
constantly looking for ways to improve.
And adapt to the evolving needs of the institution.
So not a job for the faint of heart.
Definitely not. But for people who are passionate about higher education and want to make a difference, it can be an incredibly rewarding career.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from the expanding scope of higher ed HR to the role of technology and the importance of DEI. It's a much more complex and dynamic field than I think a lot of people realize.
I agree. And this is just a snapshot. It's constantly evolving. There are so many exciting developments happening. One thing that I think we'll see more of is a focus on employee well-being.
Yeah, that definitely came up a lot in the research.
It's not just about salary and benefits anymore.
Right.
Institutions need to create an environment where people feel valued, supported, empowered to be themselves at work.
It's about community
Yeah,
and belonging
exactly.
and recognizing that people have lives outside of work.
Yes.
So things like flexible work arrangements,
yeah,
generous leave, mental health resources, those are becoming more and more important.
that are.
And it's not just the right thing to do.
Right.
It makes good business sense, too.
It does.
When employees feel supported, they're more productive, more engaged, less likely to burn out.
And less likely to leave.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
So it sounds like the future of higher ed HR is really about creating a more human-centered experience.
I think that's a great way to put it.
It's technology, DEI,
Right.
well-being, all working together. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners, if you're interested in exploring the world of higher ed HR, be sure to visit academicjobs.com.
You'll find all sorts of positions at colleges and universities across the country.
From entry-level to senior leadership.
There's something for everyone who wants to make a difference in higher education.
So if you're ready for a rewarding career, one that combines your love of learning with your desire to have an impact, head over to academicjobs.com and start exploring.
And be sure to subscribe to the Recruitment Podcast for more conversations about academic recruitment.
We'll be back next week with another deep dive.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to make a difference.
Thanks for listening.